Hello and welcome to this fourth edition of the Inspired by 2020 Visionary Leadership Chat series. I'm delighted today to be joined by a good friend of mine, Samantha Kelly, also known as the Tweeting Goddess. Hi, Sam.
Hi, lovely to be here. Thanks a million.
It's great to see you, and I've got to know you really well over the last couple of months. And just for those who don't know you, I'll be surprised if many don't know you. You're an award-winning Twitter expert, the Tweeting Goddess, acclaimed, including in Forbes, social media trainer, author, speaker, and founder of the Women's Inspire Network. So you're constantly doing stuff, and I know from our engagement, I've actually asked you to help me with my social media stuff the last couple of months, and I've seen huge improvement in my confidence, my abilities, and also the reaction that I'm getting, right? And so maybe, and that's all down to your help, so maybe let's go back to you and your life. And I know we've had some similar experiences, but it'd be great for the audience to hear a little bit about your life and then how you've ended up getting to where you are today.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say, I can teach people lots of things, but it's about when the person implements those things. So you've done really a lot yourself. So take some credit for that. I mean, really, I love to show people the power of Twitter in particular, because a lot of people dismiss Twitter as, being a platform where the president hangs out or whatever. But, it's really powerful for building relationships, and it's changed my whole life. Like to go back a little bit, like when I'm actually almost 12 years sober on the 1st of June, which is really cool. Yeah, thanks. So that's really where my whole life changed. I was a lone parent on social welfare, and I got a business idea later on, but it was only after I was sober a while. So I suppose I wouldn't have even taken that step if I hadn't already been, improving myself and caring for myself and changing the way I think about things. And I think I'm very lucky, because a lot of the things that I've learned in my recovery are things that are really important in business, like think, day at a time. This too shall pass, especially now in these times, because it is a really difficult time for a lot of people. And at the moment, really what's important now is compassion and giving value and helping others, which is hard to do when you have a business and you need to pay bills, but it's something I'm always done anyway. And that's what's made me so successful, especially on Twitter, is because, when you help people and you walk the walk, and you show leadership by doing those things and doing the right things and being kind to others, it really does come back to you. It really does. People are watching, and the real top leaders are watching, and the real people who are leaders appreciate the things that I'm doing and would be like that themselves, you see.
I might just butt in there for a second just to say that for those who don't know, I gave up drink a while ago as well, not quite as long ago as you, Sam, and I'm on exactly the same program, right? And I'm noticing that as I'm coming towards closer to my own truth, right? I'm starting to tell people my story since January this year. That a more authentic kind of version of me seems to be peeling off, right? And as you said, the true leaders, the leaders without ego and arrogance, people like Stephen Kelly and Ted Rubin, who you wonderfully connected to me, they notice that in people, right? Whereas a lot of people who are struggling don't notice that, and they still live in that kind of I think it was Brian Main who I interviewed yesterday was talking about there's two aspects to all of this. There's the ego self and the authentic self. And it's only those people who have been through that rock bottom and come out, or who have no axe to grind, who aren't living in ego, they notice the people who live in that authentic selves. And that's you. And I'm aspiring to that as well. So sorry for interrupting, but it was important to say all that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like people, look, business is all about people. It's about how you treat people. It's about acknowledging people, not ignoring anyone. And I remember when I started my first business, which was Funky Goddess, which was in 2011, I remember feeling so lonely, so lost. I never went to college. I didn't do anything business-wise. I didn't even do business studies. And I didn't know what I was doing, really. I just taught myself, like, just from online. And I discovered this whole world of online, like YouTube videos and stuff that I knew I could, if I put something into search, that I could find, how to do a Facebook page, how to do it. All of it was there for me. And then I started improving my skills and honing my skills. But really what it was all about was people. I started chatting to people when the kids went to bed. I have two girls, and when the girls went to bed, I was lonely, so I started talking to people, and I started talking to other business owners and asking questions and getting involved in Twitter chats and stuff. And that's where it all started for me. I didn't realize that I was actually really, really good with people and really good at marketing. But marketing really is all about showing that you're the expert, showing your expertise, sharing your knowledge, assisting others, and being, like, people copy me all the time, but I always say to people, you are your USP. People buy from people.
But sorry, just to say, Sam, that's really important, because there are always going to be people who copy people, right? And I've had it as well. But the potential buyers out there and supporters and people who are behind you, they know this, they notice this, and the right people will stick with you. And I know it's galling, but I mean, you've got loads of quotes competitors, but I also see that you have huge, authentic, real supporters. So you know what I mean? You can't stop people copying you. You just have to be you and plow that forward.
Well, what I do is I always tell people, don't worry about the copycats. Just keep being the best. Just keep being the best. And how you keep being the best is you keep learning, improving, showing that you are the best, sharing your knowledge, do webinars, show off what you know. And when you show off what you know and you show you're the best, that you're going to become the go-to person, and help others. I mean, I've helped people. I remember I helped people years ago, and they would come back to me and say, I remember that time when you said this to me. And I was like, did I say that to you? Did I say that to that girl? But I'd said something to this girl that inspired her and made her go, do you know what? I'm going to go for this. And if I can do this, anybody can do this. And the lovely thing about social media now is it takes nobody can become a somebody. Like I didn't have any qualifications. I didn't feel like I had anything to offer society, especially from my past. And now I'm a really useful member of society, and I like that feeling. I like that feeling of being able to help others, even if it's just by saying one thing to someone at a conference, that they remember that. And it happened to me. Bill Liao was a man who said to me once at a conference, like, the lady asked, hands up, what's your biggest challenge or whatever? And I said, am I good enough? It was always something, am I good enough? Like that imposter syndrome thing. And I remember when Bill was leaving, he turned around and he went, oh, by the way, Sam, you are good enough. And that was enough for me, and that really made I just was stunned, because I wasn't expecting it. But it was just a simple little word he said, like a sentence that he sent to me that stuck with me, And now I'm talking about it now, 11 years later, so.
Yeah, it's funny, because I come out of the corporate world, right? And I always felt like I had the qualifications and the grades and I did all that stuff, but I never really felt that I fitted in there, right? I always felt that I was more human, and I preferred connecting. And so I kind of almost lived a lie, and now I'm moving out of that. I'm still doing that stuff, but I'm doing more authentic stuff and telling my story. It feels a huge relief, and I reckon there's loads of people out there, I hadn't thought of this before, who have come from that educated academic background, but equally felt that imposter syndrome because they were living a lie. I think it's like a big circle. There's all sorts of people, and everybody needs help. Everybody in their own way needs help.
Well, I remember I worked in the bank years ago, and I remember there was something needed, a document needed to go somewhere, to court case or something. And I remember I got up early and got the extra early bus. Went in to make sure that I would have that document ready. And I just did that because it's like, well, they need it before 10 o'clock. So I'll just do that. And I won an award for someone nominated me for an award because they couldn't believe that I had actually gone to the trouble of going in extra early, making sure that it was there for 9 o'clock, not 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock I had it there for. But that to me was just normal. I watched my father work really hard. We grew up, I was born in Ballymun Flats. Like, you know, my dad worked really hard to get us to better, like, and he ended up in a cottage in the countryside, which was his dream. So he showed me, from watching him, I could see, well, okay, if you work really hard, you can get what you want, you know? And so I remember my peers in the bank at the time weren't too happy with me getting all this attention. They were like, sure, she's just a bank assistant. But like, it was actually the top guys, the CEOs, and they always used to stop and say, how are you, Sam? And they'd be yapping away to me because I just treated them the same. I didn't actually bow or anything. I just treated them as humans. And I think I've always had that gift. And I've always had that gift, that compassion and kindness, but I suppose it didn't really bring it out to me till I got better myself and I started believing in the value I had myself.
Yeah. You know, there's funny, in talking to Stephen Kelly, who was like the ex-CEO of Sage, and talking to Brian Main yesterday, the founder of Goal Mapping, and we all have very similar backgrounds. Like, we all come from class backgrounds. Certainly you and I have been through rock bottoms, and, you know, I was the first person in my family to go to university. My dad worked as a salesman in the plastics industry, and I was very lucky. I worked hard, you know, and I think that's a common thing in a lot of entrepreneurs. Forget about the academics. The academics is a nice document to have. The key thing is, whether you've got academics or not is irrelevant. I think it's your perspective on your life, your drive, your purpose, and how you want to be perceived and how you want to interact. They're the key things. It's nothing to do with status or documents. It's nice to have them. So that brings me on to the Women's Inspire Network. So it's interesting because I've written stuff about the importance of gender balance in organizations, and coming from a family, you know, I have a wife and 2 daughters. They're 20 and 21. Okay. And then I live with my mum and my grandmother because my parents split up when I was 12, 11. So I've always lived in that maternal part of the world, you know, and for me, it's obvious that business, you know, historically, we've been male oriented because of the church and religion and military and economics and politics and business and stuff. But it's clear that gender balance is the key for everything. And I'm not talking about males and females. I'm talking about gender balance in all of us. So I think the Women's Inspire Network is so important because of those entrenched biases out there. So maybe talk a little bit about how that came about and what are the main aims and purposes of that.
Well, I felt, as I said, when I started out, like I didn't feel like I belonged. I'd go to networking events and I just felt, I don't know. I used to feel like that at school gates as well, though. So I don't know what that's about. I better look at that. But it was just like, I just felt like, hang on, I need to create something new here. There's something missing here, because I remember going away from these events after getting a childminder, after traveling, blah, 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 and going, what did I learn today? I didn't learn anything today, and I wanted to learn. I wanted to get value. So I said, right, I'm going to create my own network, and I'm going to create a network where we'll help each other and support each other, because I found that a lot of people were guarded. They wouldn't, reach out and help. And I was like, certain people would, and they're the ones who are still in my life at the moment. Like Bill and Ted and so on, and Tony Ennis and stuff, you know, but I would actually, I just felt I had to create my own tribe, I suppose. And I just also noticed online, a lot of people had started businesses the same as me. I was 40 when I started my business, right? So I'm 49 now, so that was 9 years ago. So when I was online, I noticed a lot of the women that were starting businesses actually didn't know how to do Facebook, didn't know how to use Twitter, didn't know how to attach an email to, like, you know, do an email even, you know, because we didn't grow up with these things. We didn't grow up with Facebook or mobile phones even. So I said, right, there's a little gap here where I could actually show these women how to do all of this stuff, and also get other experts in that are good at the stuff I'm not good at. And create a whole network of people that can actually, a pool of knowledge where we could help each other, support each other. And also, because my followers were growing at this stage, like now I have 52,000 followers, I knew that I could boost them by retweeting them. and I knew I had a certain amount of influence on Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's really how I start and why I started it, because I wanted people like me around me. I wanted to be with other people like me so that we could bounce ideas off each other. And they were humans. That's another thing I noticed was a lot of these small business networks, I didn't feel like a human when I was there. I felt ignored. I remember one particular one, it was a government agency one actually. And I remember the one that was from the local place here. There were 7 women having breakfast, 7 women sitting having breakfast, and I was on my own. And she knew I was on my own.
Yeah.
She knew I was a startup. She knew that I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
And I sat there on my own and ate breakfast, and she didn't invite me over. And I said, I don't want any woman to feel like that, or man.
Yeah.
And so I always make sure I keep an eye out for the person who's standing in the corner of the room. And I purposely go over to that person and see how they are.
Right.
And a lot of people have come back to me over the years and said, I remember that time you were so kind to me. I was so shy. I was so afraid. I was going to go home. I was going to run out the door. And then you came over. And so it works. And they remember me. And they're probably my biggest supporters and cheerleaders now.
It's amazing. It's amazing because it just dawns on me that, I in my previous early corporate life, I used to say stuff to people, right? More junior people. I was a legal counsel in big multinationals, and then years later, I would get LinkedIn messages or whatever, thanking me, right? And there's 3 or 4 guys in Ireland, right? And I half of these things I can't remember, right? And I think that was in me, right, to help, right? And yet I got so camouflaged and subsumed by my own fears, inadequacies, and imposter syndrome that I buried myself into the corporate world and didn't allow the true me to come out. And it's funny, working with you the last couple of months, I've just done so much to come out of myself, Twitter Live and Facebook and YouTube Live. And I'm now back on Facebook, and I'm using Twitter amazingly, and Instagram I'm starting, and programs and this Inspire series. And that's mainly all to do with your inspiration. And then I'm sitting here thinking, I can't do it now because I'm really busy, right? But wouldn't it be great for me to start something like you did for all those professional people, right, who got qualifications and stuff, but felt lost in that system and just want to be connecting type people, And I think there's millions of us out there. I've met them. In the legal profession, there are so many lawyers who are just depressed and anxious, and so maybe one day, but yeah, there's so much.
Well, I mean, the thing is as well, like, I remember I knew some girls who would have tattoos or piercings, and they were running a really good, viable business, but they were like, oh no, I've nothing nice to wear. I come like you are. Like, just be yourself. I'm no, there's no reason why, like people, it's about humans. It's about making people feel special. I love the Maya D'Angelo quote, people will always remember how you made them feel. And that's so true, because I remember how people made me feel. I remember leaders sitting down with me and having a cup of tea with me. And when I wrote my book, I always mentioned those people because I remember them. I remember the people who did see something in me that I didn't see. And I like to see, sometimes I can see it in other people and they can't see it. And I love that. And that's actually probably my biggest thing that people say they get from my 6-step program is actually you gave me loads of confidence. And I was like, oh, did I? And, I don't even realize that I'm doing that. But I just truly believe that if you want something, if you can dream it, you can do it. I really do believe that. I always dreamed of having a house by the sea. I grew up in Tala, and I always dreamed of having a house by the sea. And now and then I got a council house down here in Rosslare Harbour. So I have my house by the sea. It's only 5 minutes walk. So I did get my dream. So I think if you can dream it, you can do it for sure. And if you want to make it, if you want something to happen, make it happen.
Yep.
And I did that with Ted Rubin. I really loved his message. I love what he was saying. I said, how can I get Ted Rubin over here? I was going to go over there to see him. And I went, hang on, why don't I create my own event? So I created the Social Media Summit, and I just got the sponsorship, and we got Ted over, and he blew the house down. It was amazing. And I knew he would be. And, you know, and that stood to me, you know, because I was bringing someone so cool over, and then that helped raise my profile obviously as well. But now we're friends, you know, and this is someone I was like, he was like my Justin Bieber, you know. He
He's
was
one of the
like,
he's one of the coolest
oh
guys
yeah.
I've ever spoken with. We just had 45 minutes of just fun. You know, he gets it. And then Stephen Kelly, I mean, I kind of aspire to be a cross between Stephen Kelly and Ted Rubin. If I could get half and half. So in terms of the online world, so for those people out there, and I'm going through that process, right? I think I'm coming through this process now because I'm doing an awful lot, as you said, with your guidance. For those people who are where I was 2 months ago, right? Who just used G Drive, email, a bit of WhatsApp, but were scared of social media, scared of doing newsletters and this sort of stuff. How would you? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but how would you? What initial words of advice or support would you give them to get them on that first confidence ladder? Because you must get people like that come to you.
Your phone is your best friend. Just press the red button.
Yeah.
Just do it. You know, I mean, like people say, oh, Twitter, I can't go live on Twitter. You can just go live when you're at the beach, show people the beach, show people the garden, show people, you know, practice. This is about when people buy from people, just remember that. So they're not going to know you unless you show them a little bit of yourself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be really private stuff. Like I am quite open, you're quite open about our past and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. Just let them in a little bit, you know. I remember we had a speaker, and she was from a big corporate, and she was at an event, and she was saying, what am I going to speak about? The audience is not going to want to hear about, you know, what I'm talking about. And I said, well, let them in a little bit, you know, because I know my audience, they want to feel connected to that speaker. They want to feel like they can identify what the speaker's talking about. And so I was so happy. She put up a slide. She actually said, well, first of all, a little bit about me. And she put up a slide of her daughter that she'd adopted from Russia.
Wow.
And she had them like that. The minute she shared that little bit, and she was very emotional later on the day she came up to me. She said, actually, 5 women have come up to me with the exact same issues I had, and that they're thinking of adopting. So, I mean, for her, it was a lovely thing for her as well. So she got value from it that way, because it made her feel good that she'd shared something that actually helped 4 other women in the room, you know, so it's lovely.
So in terms of you, I asked Brian this yesterday, in an ideal world, right? And right now we're going through a difficult time, okay? But this too shall pass, okay? So assuming this passes, and I'm hoping that we don't get back to all of the same things before. I think we were traveling too much, and I'm hoping attitudes will change, and I'm hoping that everybody getting in the car driving for 4 hours a day commuting is going to be partially a thing of the past. But putting all that aside, in 5 years' time, where would you like to be with your business and how you're helping other people?
Oh, well, I'd love to be, you know, at the moment I'm only doing Women's Inspire Network, probably 10-15% of my time. Like I have 2 businesses. I have Tweeting Goddess, which is where I train people how to use social media and go online, shine online. And then the Women's Inspire Network is the other business. So I'd love Women's Inspire Network to be more global. It's already global because it's online, but a more global network with more value, and like with thousands of members from all over the world, and then start doing, you know, like we do conference once a year in Dublin on 21st of October is our next one. Well, you know, all things going well. But maybe doing in New York then, and doing in London, and, you know, things like that. But I really feel the future is going to be more online, which is great for me, because I already do loads of webinars for my Women's Inspire members. And I knew this was going to be so powerful. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And it's going to be a great story to tell the grandchildren. You know, I was struggling, and then COVID came. It was like, then everyone realized online's actually important. Actually, do you know what's going to be great? Do you ever get one of those meetings where you had to drive like to Dublin or somewhere, and you get there and it could have been an email? Oh, this is going to totally knock all that away now.
Absolutely.
There won't be any more of that. It'll be like, let's jump on a Skype call, let's jump on a Zoom. And another thing, you know, that I've been which is really good because I am ahead of others online, is a lot of people say, oh, Zoom, let's do Zoom. There's actually lots of other platforms
I
out
know.
there
I
that
know.
we can use.
I know.
And it's just that Zoom was the most popular one, but
Yeah.
like there are loads of different platforms, loads of different ways that you can
Yeah.
create content and all of that great stuff.
Yeah.
But really it comes down to people being kind and helping each other. And you know, some people, I mean, I had a few trolls at one stage, oh, she can't really be like that, but
Yeah.
I am like that because I have to be like that. If I don't
Yeah.
live this way where I help somebody every day,
Yeah.
do a good deed, uh, you know, help someone, be kind to myself
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. Like everything works well when I'm well, you know.
Yeah.
And when I'm well, what I mean by that is looking after myself, feeling good, feeling confident, feeling useful.
Yeah.
And so helping others actually makes me feel good. So, you
Yeah.
know,
That's,
it's
that's a great point, because as we know, 3 key words in 12-step programs are willingness, open-mindedness, and honesty. But above all else, honesty.
yeah.
And I love that, because for me, the honesty thing is as much about being honest to yourself as it is to others. I mean, they're equally important. And I naturally, because of some troubled past, I was a people pleaser, right? And I still
Mm,
veer towards that, right? And I pull myself back,
mhm.
but being honest with yourself means saying no sometimes,
Yeah,
and saying right yes to the right things. And as you said, it's helping others and doing the right thing feeds our soul. It actually is actually really, really, really important for our health. If we don't do this, for those
yeah,
people who are listening to this, right? If we're
yeah,
not as honest we can, we're actually going to be very sick, and
yeah,
very
yeah,
unwell. So it's critically
yeah.
important. So just wrapping up, Sam. So if you had sort of any real words of wisdom or advice for people who are currently online, right, in terms of
Mm.
tweaking what they're doing or pivoting or changing, given where we're at right now in the world, are there things that you think you're seeing people do that you think if they just changed a little bit, they could really accelerate?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So many things.
If they engaged with people, like I've often mentioned brands on Twitter, and I have 52,000 followers, and I've
Yeah.
mentioned brands on Twitter, and they haven't even acknowledged me, and they
Yeah.
haven't even said thank you, or they haven't retweeted it, which would be even better because
Yeah.
um, it shows others that someone really likes their product. So there's things like that. So not like actually, and I'm sure the owner of the business would really like to know that, and they probably don't know. So it's about the CEOs and the people at the top actually getting involved and being social on social media. It's about them keeping an eye on what's happening and what their own business is putting out there. There's no point in just saying, oh, there's a big drama, you know, we're trending on Twitter because we put out the wrong message or something. That's too late. That's too late.
So
You
why?
need to be there.
So
Yeah.
why do you think they're not responding to you? My logical conclusion would be that they're just too busy, or they haven't got somebody engaged managing their social media, which seems mad.
Both.
Because,
Both. They don't believe in it. They don't understand the power of it. And sometimes they have their Facebook linked to their Twitter. So whoever's doing the marketing is just linking the Facebook. So it's just going out to Twitter. And that's a total waste of time because people on Twitter don't click Facebook links. So it's actually laziness on the part of the
yeah,
marketeer, but the boss might not actually know this is happening. And then also it's just people don't take Twitter seriously. But if it's saying good, if I'm saying good things about your brand, I really, you know, it should be acknowledged. You know what I mean? It's nice to be acknowledged. And if
yeah,
someone sends me something, I always put a picture up. So that's why I have a lot of small business owners who sometimes send me stuff. And
yeah,
actually, I buy a lot of stuff from small business owners on Twitter. And then I put a picture up when it comes. And
yeah,
that's given them such a huge boost. Like they didn't ask me to. I
yeah,
paid money for the thing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not as if they sent it to me for free. And I love to do that to help others. And it's just doing those little things like surprise and delight your customers right now, this moment in time,
yeah,
COVID,
yeah,
right? We need to be looking after the customers we already have.
yeah,
Surprise and delight them, send them a card, send them a little video on LinkedIn.
yeah,
You know, send them a little video seeing how they are.
yeah,
Surprise them. One of our members, her husband sadly passed away recently, so we sent her flowers from one of the members, Bumblebee Flower Farm. So we sent
yeah,
a bouquet from her, from all of us, and a card. And it's about making sure that you're top of mind as well. So show you're the expert, show what it is you're brilliant at now, because people are going to remember the people who are really shining during this crisis. There are parents there that want inspiration, they want to keep the kids entertained. If you can do anything like that, you have fans right there. If you can help those parents get through the day easier, if you can help people, a lot of people are overeating, if you can help people lose a bit of weight, nice recipes. If you're a restaurant, even if you're closed, put up some little recipes to help them and keep you top of mind. You know, I know Michael's in Dublin. He's doing takeaway now. So he's closed, but he's doing takeaway and he's flying it, you know, and this is brilliant. And it's lovely to see people are pivoting online. And I know yoga teachers who did my 6-step program were already ahead of the rest because they put their yoga online. So now they're actually getting clients from all over the world joining their yoga classes. So it's really powerful. It's about getting the right people around you as well.
I also think you need to have confidence in yourself as well, in terms of, don't be afraid to collaborate as well. I mean, I'm collaborating with a few people, Jason Cooper and a few people, and also don't be afraid to recommend somebody to somebody you're working with. So I've done that with you. You know, I've done work with ISME and ICBE, and I've linked you to them, and I know you're doing a program with ISME, and I don't have any concern that I'm going to lose work out of doing this, because that's not how the universe works. If you operate from that honest, true intent, the chances are you're going to get more. And just to summarize, just to conclude on the importance of working on this social media stuff for your brand, right? I can tell you for a fact, I can tell the audience for a fact that this is real. So I represent a company in the UK called Brand Finance, who put values on brands, right? I represent them here in Ireland. And when you do a valuation on a corporate brand, whether it's a small company or a big multinational, you look at quantitative factors, all the finances and all that boring stuff, but really essential stuff. But most importantly is the qualitative factors that make up a brand value, right? And they're comprised of all the things like, how happy are your employees? What is the market perception of your brand? What do stakeholders, suppliers and buyers think of your brand, right? And all that goes into a calculation. So the more businesses look at authentically and genuinely work on their brand, it is going to feed into the value of their brand value. You know, so it's real stuff, this.
Oh, look, I mean, Twitter is just, anyone who dismisses Twitter, look, just check out, I'm doing workshops all the time online. I mean, check it out, you know, and I've had to pivot as well. You know, lots of people maybe can't afford my 6-step program, the one-to-ones, but I pivoted so that I can help people in a little way for a little bit of time, you know, to kind of help, you know, but, you know, there are good people out there. It's about surrounding yourself with good people. And that's why my Women's Inspire Network work is so powerful, because we, like, the bitches won't join because they don't like me. It's great. You know, so it's right. Really about, you know, getting the right people around you as well.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. So Sam, how, if people want to contact you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
tweetinggoddess.com, or follow me on Twitter at tweetinggoddess, or the Women's Inspire Network. If you want to join the network, it's $20 a month, and you get webinars every week, private Facebook group support, and mentoring, and it's deadly. It's brilliant.
It is deadly. Thanks very much, and it was great chatting with you.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.